Welcome to the Planet of Maths channel. In today's video, we'll cover multiplying of binomials. Our task instruction is to do multiplication and combine like terms. And in example A, we have the multiplication of two expressions. These are two binomials. This is the first binomial, this is the second binomial. In total, we have four forms here. We have x, we have -4, we have x, and we have -3. X is positive, 4 is negative, this x is positive, and 3 is negative. And we need to multiply each by each, so our first multiplication is this x multiplied by this x. X multiplied by x is obviously x squared, and we multiply a positive by a positive x, so we get a positive x squared. The second multiplication is multiplying this x by the number 3. Multiplying x by 3 gives us 3x, but note the signs. Since we're multiplying a positive x by a 3, which is negative, so from this operation, we get a negative result. And these 3x's written down. We've already multiplied by x, now we're multiplying by 4. So we multiply this 4 by x first, and we get 4x's. 4 is negative, x is positive. And when you multiply something negative by something positive, you get a negative sign. And these 4x's we've written down. The last multiplication is 4 times 3, making 12. -4, -3. A negative number times a negative number results in a positive outcome. Sometimes that might be the end of the example, but sometimes you need to simplify further. Here we have like terms, so we need to combine them. X squared won't simplify with anything, so we write as it is. -3x's and -4x's together make -7x's, and plus 12 copied over. That gives us the result for the first example. Example B. In the first bracket, we have 6y minus 2, and in the second bracket, we have -y plus 5. And we multiply each term by each term. There are 4 terms, and we first multiply 6y. We need to multiply by this y. 6y times y. That's 6 with nothing else multiplied, and y times itself gives y squared. Just need to pay attention to the signs now. Those 6y's are a positive term. This 2 is a negative term, y is a negative term, and 5 is a positive term. So, our multiplication of 6y times -y will give us a negative sign. Since when we multiply something positive by something negative, we get a negative result. And yes, those 6y squared will be negative. Then the second multiplication is 6y's multiplied by this 5. 6 times 5 will multiply, giving us 30, and this y won't multiply with anything, so y to rewrite. And now the sign. 6y's are positive, 5 is positive, so the result of this multiplication is positive, positive 30y's. Now we multiply -2 by -y. Negative times negative gives us a positive sign, and 2 times y is just 2y. The last multiplication, -2 times +5, gives us a negative sign. A negative result comes from multiplying a minus by a plus. And 2 times 5 is 10. And this is not the final result either, because we can combine this and that. -6y squared rewrites. These 30y's plus 2y's gives us 32y's, and -10 copied over. Example C. 4x's are positive, 5 is negative, 3x's are positive, and 2 is positive. First, we multiply 4x's by 3x's, so it goes like this. 4 times 3 equals 12. X times x will also multiply, resulting in x squared, so we'll get 12x squared. Positive times positive gives a positive result, simply 12x squared, and here's an invisible plus. Now we multiply 4x by 2, 4x are positive, 2 is positive, so the result from this is positive. And 4x's multiplied by 2 gives us 8x's. I won't go into detail about that anymore, but if anyone feels the need to jot it down on the side, they certainly can. We've multiplied by 4x's, now let's multiply this 5, remembering it's negative. When we multiply 5 by 3x, the outcome here is negative times positive, so we'll have a negative result. And 5 times 3 equals 15x's. And the last multiplication, -5 times +2, gives a negative result. 5 times 2 is 10. The x's here will reduce, 8x's minus 15x's, which is negative 7x's. Minus 10 rewrited unchanged. Example D. Here in the first parenthesis, we have x minus 2. So there are two terms. X is positive, 2 is negative. And in the second bracket, we have three terms. X squared is positive, 5x is positive, and the 3 is negative. And we must multiply each by each. So we will multiply this x 3 times. And we're also multiplying this 2 3 times. So there are 6 multiplications in total. The first multiplication, x times x squared, both positive gives a positive result. X times x squared is x to the third power. Now a positive x times a positive. So that's definitely a plus. And x multiplied by 5x, the 5 doesn't multiply with anything. And x multiplied by x gives x squared. Next, multiplying positive x times negative 3 results in a negative outcome. And x multiplied by 3 equals 3x. So x we have already multiplied. Now the negative 2. Negative 2 multiplied by positive, so here I immediately put a minus sign. And 2 times x squared is 2x squared. Negative 2 times positive 5 gives a negative result. 2 times 5 here makes 10, and x won't multiply with anything. And the last multiplication, negative 2 times negative 3 gives a positive result. 3 times 2 equals 6. Now we combine like terms. There's only one x cubed, so we rewrite it. X squared is here and here. We'll combine these two things together. Positive 5x squared minus 2x squared equals a positive 3x squared. We also have to combine negative 3x regular and negative 10x regular, which totals negative 13x regular, and then plus 6 unchanged. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I invite you to tune in for the next episodes on the Planet of Mass channel.